After 10 years of seclusion, Zarathustra emerges from his mountain cave in the first chapter of Thus Spoke Zarathustra. He wishes to educate humanity about the Overman and is overflowing with knowledge and love. He declares that the Overman must be the purpose of the earth when he reaches the settlement of the Motley Cow. Humanity must be defeated because it serves as a link between animals and Overman. The Overman is someone who has created his own values and goals and is free from all the prejudices and moralities of human society. The majority of the populace appears to have little interest in the Overman and no understanding of Zarathustra. Zarathustra is disappointed by his failure to disperse this crowd of shoppers at the end of his first day. He decides to speak to people who are interested in breaking away from the herd rather than attempting to convert the masses. The theory of perpetual recurrence, which asserts that all events will repeat themselves forevermore, is the pinnacle of Zarathustra's teaching. Since only the Overman possesses the strength of will to accept responsibility for every moment of his life and to yearn only for each moment to be repeated, only the Overman can adhere to this theory. As he cannot endure the idea that the mediocrity of the rabble will be repeated for all of eternity without betterment, Zarathustra struggles to accept the idea of an everlasting recurrence. 4. Nietzsche labeled his time as nihilistic. Despite the fact that Nietzsche's Germany was characterized by an unrestrained optimism in the future of science, knowledge, and the German people, the growth of science and Darwinian evolution had caused people to perceive the world more and more as a meaningless and chaotic mess, and the Christian faith no longer had the same influence over European thought as it previously had. Nietzsche understood that Europe needed a set of uplifting principles to guide its energy and will. He accurately predicted that if European nihilism were to run amok, the 21st century would witness wars our planet had never seen before. Nietzsche's theory of nihilism can thus be distilled into 2 steps. First, nihilism, which is the negation of existence by subjecting it to the Overman in a higher realm, and second, nihilism as the result of the death of God. Nietzsche declared, God is dead. This atheist worldview was dangerous, as Nietzsche recognized. What was the point of life if we weren't going through pain to get closer to God? Who would we now turn to for the courage to face the challenges of life? God was the source of transcendental ideals like truth, justice, beauty, and love, which we imagine ourselves as valiantly protecting by living meaningful lives and dying meaningful deaths. How could we suddenly make ourselves the heroes? Although horrifying, the effects of God's death are also liberating. In The Gay Science, written by Nietzsche and first published in German in 1882, the news of God's demise is reported by a man who has gone insane out of terror for what a life without God may be like. He eventually bursts into churches to perform God's funeral rites. Without God, we are alone and exposed to a natural universe devoid of the consoling notion that everything has a purpose that was given by God. Nietzsche believed that this nihilistic state, which is the belief that life has no purpose or value, must be experienced, even though frightening and devastating. He believed that nihilism could serve as a gateway to a better way of life. Nihilism can be a bridge to a new way of being, for, after all, we are undetermined animals, malleable enough to be refashioned. Our duty today is to transition from the old Christian manner of being human to what Nietzsche refers to as the Ubermensch or overhuman. For those who are inspired by inquiry, Nietzsche writes, being freed from the burden of attempting to live up to a heavenly standard by understanding and accepting that we are fallible humans leaves us lighter. As he explains in Daybreak, God's death eliminates the possibility of divine retribution, giving humans the freedom to try new ways of living and make mistakes along the way once more. He wants us to take full use of this chance. We can be the heroes of our own stories again, once we reclaim from God our creative wills. Nietzsche encourages us to treat our lives like the creation of works of art, learning from artists how to tolerate and even celebrate ourselves by cultivating the art of looking at ourselves from a distance as heroes. Thus spoke Friedrich Nietzsche, one of the most enigmatic and misunderstood thinkers of the 19th century.